Welcome to today's live show, and today we are going to be getting into some technical analysis pretty much all week long. We will be live. I thank you guys for going through some troublesome time in June, but sometimes we got to go through some troublesome time to come out the other end a little bit stronger, and I think that's the case for us because in July, we are going to be very focused on what is happening in July as we see that the signals that we are paying attention to are confirming, as we see that people are starting to say, oh, the yields are collapsing, and we say they are turning around. As people say the dollar is collapsing, but we say it is turning back around with the availability to turn down and make divergence. But at this point, the dollar, many people have been posting all last week that the dollar is breaking down to levels that we haven't seen before, trying to get you to believe that the dollar is going to absolutely collapse, when at the same time we started to see an exact bottom while those things are posted. So your understanding, your analysis will be much more important as the dollar tries to potentially turn up on this MACD and turn up and maybe even be able to go positive. At the same time, we see the 10-year yield starting to turn up. We see the dollar starting to turn up, and those things have been turned down for a period of time, which has really helped the market in order to extend and go higher. But is that flip going to flip the way the SPY wants to go? And I think that's a very good thing to pay attention to as you go look at volatility and you see daily triple divergence, potentially even today, confirming, and volatility saying, hey, I'm only up 1.26%. But if you take into consideration the fact that we had that day off and some funky things happen on those days off, you're actually up 8.19% as of this morning for volatility. So let's just be watching these things very carefully as we pay attention to, if we can confirm this signal as of right now. The signal that we definitely know that is confirmed as of this moment is the 2-hour, and we see that we are able to make a new high. We see that we are able to be above the 5-day moving average. So until we see this break below the 5-day moving average and reject, we have to say that volatility is here. Now, you're not necessarily seeing that with a massive sell-off for the moment, but it does mean that people who were potentially taking major notice you cannot see it were taking some major put positions towards the end. I guess potentially, I guess this was Thursday, right? But you can't see it in the shorter time frames. You got to pull out to a daily time frame to really see and look at that closing of 1.25. So someone might have known something you don't, and there is a very good probability that we are topping out potentially even today as we confirm these signals. Now, we take everything with a grain of salt. We pay attention to both sides. Why? Because nothing is 100%. Literally nothing is 100%. You have to pay attention to how you can be wrong in markets, because there is just the potential that some kind of news comes out, we get a buy, and we turn up one more time. Then we get another one, we turn up one more time. And even with reversal signals, we pay attention to what? How we can remain strong. If you want to take into consideration the times where we have done that, we did that here. We did that, especially, I would say, let's mark off the 2 times where we really did it, right? This time was a little bit of a interesting one, but we still were suggesting that we could go higher because we weren't at monthly expected move or anything like that. But it was actually this time right here that we made 30-minute divergence, right? 30-minute divergence. Thank you to the signals for showing us this, because this helped us understand that we weren't going to fall down right now and squeeze is still on the table. So we need to see things like this start to form if we're going to ruin anything here. And really, you don't even need that to form just yet. The 30-minute is positive. We have a daily expected move down here of 622.21. And if we're able to curl down on the 30-minute and dink off that 5, we can continue the move into what? July 9th. You guys know I have been pointing out July 9th for a period of time now, and it's going to be a big deal. Someone or some AI. Amazon only mag in the green. Yes, and Amazon is actually the weird part for Amazon is the 30-minute. If I was watching a lot of these stocks, a lot of them are going to be on the 2-hour, and you run into this problem a lot of the time after like some extreme bullishness or even bearishness where you don't even make 30-minute divergence. So you look for 30-minute lower highs. You potentially do have 30-minute divergence here. It's just kind of drawn out. Maybe it looks better on an hourly, but from the 2-hour perspective in the near term, you can really see how we're adding up to, hey, if we drop like this right now, hey, maybe we're going to that weekly expected move, we catch a bounce, and then we keep going to the downside. The main thing that we have to take into consideration here is, do I want to buy in a time where volatility is confirming triple daily divergence? Do I want to buy in a time where that volatility is also confirming with a 2-hour signal? And I would take that into consideration with every single stock that you are looking at. Now, obviously, we will pay more attention to stocks looking like this that are potential to sell off. But if you see stocks like this that are able to bounce, watch for rolls. Okay, we will watch for rolls from stocks that are a little bit beat up. Something like Tesla, right? If Tesla is rolling here and we're going down to that weekly expected move, we could experience that bounce that then is able to reject, or we could experience a bounce that's able to take you through this level. I am going to change this back to, what do we like today? What color should we do today? Should we do a nice pink? Should we keep it nice and cute here today? Let's keep it nice and cute with some pink. That sounds fun. So what were we paying attention to with Tesla? If you were joining us for our short and brief private stream last night, I do apologize for not managing my time correctly after putting out that schedule. I really underestimated how much stuff I had to do this weekend. I had to chop up almost an entire tree because of a storm, and we have more family coming in town this weekend, but don't worry, I will be here with you guys all week long. I am feeling great, and I hope that you are too. I genuinely hope you're feeling good. Tell me that you're feeling good in the chat, okay, guys? Open group, welcome Jonna, Camille, Arcane, Truckin' with Josh coming in to be the first one. Croker coming in saying, someone or some AI. How are you gonna know? You're never gonna find out. Chris, welcome. Bernie, welcome, welcome. Brian, Taco moved to August now. He might have, yeah, I know. It just keeps flipping, doesn't it? So we got to be paying attention to these signals very closely. Side Priestess, so yes, I do. Matthew May, thank you for joining us today. Feeling good, says Arcane. I like it. Richard, what is up? How you doing? Richard, funny enough, my mother-in-law keeps telling me over and over, she's like, make sure you tell them thank you. That's the type of person she is. She is one of the most thankful when people go out of their way to help her. She is someone who has had to work her entire life. So she genuinely does say thank you to me for you guys out there. I kind of gave the announcement of like, hey, it was my community, but Richard and the community, thank you guys for being here and giving back to her, because she has trouble taking my money, but she can take it from you guys, apparently. How rude. Maybe it's the whole granddaughter thing. But we have a lot going on today, okay? We have a lot going on today as far as confirmations go. We have those confirmations now, so we have to be a little bit more on guard. The other side to this, though, is we have to watch for failures. We have to watch for failures in these signals because we're not necessarily to July 9th yet. Meaning, yes, we are confirming things, but yes, the volatility, VIX, can pull back on the 30-minute. Okay, we can see pullbacks on the 30-minute. This is still a very positive trend. So if you are looking for, hey, when is volatility going to scale up again? Well, you would say potentially right now if we just see something really bad because we just got those confirmations over the morning. But it would also be, does the 30-minute pull back down into that 1683? Does the 30-minute curl up? And do we do that in positive territory? That can be a big problem. The other side of that is, do we make a divergence right here? If we make a divergence right here, we'll pay attention. But if we're able to scale this up in some way, we can extend this move for volatility for a bit of time. The SPY right now opening up at something around 623.85 there. And even though volatility is up 8%, we are not seeing some major sell-off as of this morning. You are seeing it in some individual stocks, like, of course, Mr. Tesla down there, but Tesla is already down by a weekly expected move. I'm like 99% sure. I'm like 99% sure. I got to go double check sometimes. I got so many things on my mind. We do see that Tesla actually does show that it is forming that 30-minute or even 2-hour divergence. It's very wonky looking. Signals with Tesla seem to always be a little wonky looking, but you do see this forming, not confirmed. This does not mean I'm making some kind of move right now. If I am considering the weekly expected move, this means that we have a 68% chance to bounce here for Tesla. And if that bounce is pretty rigorous, you actually potentially could set up some kind of tiny, tiny little divergence right here. We'll see if that's able to take place. I think if I was doing it, I would do myself the service of pulling it out to an hourly chart just to make it a little bit more spread out here, so it's not so compact on the 2-hour. But I want you to be aware of that. Tesla is seeing something crazy. It can continue to see something crazy as we're confirmed down, but if this is able to confirm back up, you see how we could quickly make some kind of divergence. So not a reaction time just yet. It looks like you will need a little bit of time here for Tesla to tell you exactly what it wants to do. And guess what? Even if it does confirm up, you have to watch for if this thing rolls again. All right. But we are getting that ping-ponging. We were right when we said here, I think you're going to start to ping-pong and ping to the pong, right? We are ping-ponging. A lot of fun there. Nvidia, I would seriously be watching. Even like I said, if you guys aren't comfortable with the tightness on the 2-hour charts, these rejections on the 2-hour charts, I do say, and I do like to make things very clear looking for myself. So why wouldn't I tell you the same thing? Right? The point of this channel is to help you out. The point of this channel is to discuss how I look at markets and see if it is able to help you look at markets. And then we help you understand those things with courses, with weekly expected moves, with update videos over on Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon right now, you can get monthly expected moves. Monthly expected moves are going to be a great place to pay attention to for the daily pullbacks. And we have signals that suggest you can get that. You have an hourly divergence here for Nvidia. It is showing up on the 2-hour as a rejection, but if you were looking for it to be maybe a little bit more clear as far as executing the trade, right? As far as is it there, I want it to be on the 2-hour. It is. As far as executing a trade, I can do an hourly chart and see if I get a good confirmation, and then I can look for where that weekly expected move is, okay? I just wanted to point that out this morning, but we do see that the SPY is starting to tumble just a little bit. I know it's tumbling super, super bad, down 0.36%. We do have low implied volatility, so maybe volatility, maybe this is an overreaction. I choose to believe that it is not. Because of everything that I'm seeing, because of the evidence, I think I have a good 90% thing, or a 90% probability beat up in my head, right? Most of the info, if there's, say there's 99% of info that I'm able to at least collect. Well, the info that I'm collecting over the last couple of weeks really points towards we are going to see something bad very soon, but there is a 1% chance that we could see, and I would say a little bit more than that because we've continued for a while, but there is a good percentage chance of like a low percentage chance that we could reject those signals. Okay, we could reject the signal of a daily triple divergence for volatility. I don't think we're going to. I don't think it's highly probable to, but I'm still going to be aware of it because I like to manage my risk. And that is something that I wanted to say this morning. Wolfie boy, how's it going? I know. Long time no see, guys. I apologize for being sick. I tried to post as much to Patreon as my brain would really let me. I think that wifey going through what she's going through, it started to hit me, the little bit of stress, the little bit of tiredness, and I think my body was just a little bit overworked. So I do appreciate you guys always being great in the community. I wanted to take a couple of days just to rest because the 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays, and I wanted to celebrate with a bunch of family in town. And I'm very glad that I did that because I was able to say hi to my family from Texas who could have been going through horrible things, but they actually came here and were able to be very safe. And I really do appreciate that. So thank God for that. I do appreciate the fact that they were able to come all the way to the Midwest to almost accidentally miss out on all of that turmoil. Please keep my brother in your thoughts and prayers. He is still down there. I don't know what the problem is looking like at this moment. I talked to him last night and he is doing perfectly fine. He had his birthday, so I wanted to give him a call. And he said he's overall pretty a decent amount away from it, but he is still being safe by staying in his house. So please just have a thought in your head real quick for my brother. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Nothing really happened. I mean, from what I've collected, there was like a dam or something that broke. Am I incorrect with this? You don't really have to. I mean, it's more just I'm paying attention to it because my brother's down there. But I want you guys to. I just wanted to share that with you guys this morning in case you do have family down there. I have your family in my thoughts and prayers too. We are thinking about the people down in Texas and what they're going through. I mean, some of the things you're hearing are in reality, things that we should be really focusing on and trying to put good energy out into the world for some positivity that everyone is safe. So thank you guys for being a part of this community, and thank you guys for keeping in mind how we prioritize our thinking here. We are, overall, as far as priority goes, we are people first, family first, markets second, and that's how I treat things, but I do treat the market very seriously, and I hope that I am very helpful to you this week. If you needed the weekly expected moves, you do have 634.94 to the upside for the SPY. You have 614.74 to the downside for the SPY as well. This will be an area we will really be paying attention to for, can we get there? Can the 30-minute just curl up here, or do we need to pull back down to lower levels? If you needed those levels for the Qs, we will list those off right now. We have 566.71 to the upside. We have 545.73 to the downside, and we will look for similar things. We can really see on the Qs how we would like to break down. We would like to maybe show a new low here, get some kind of bounce, and then be able to turn down into negative territory by getting a lower high, creating the structure of a left head and right shoulder to potentially give you that daily pullback down to the critical level of about 530. But if we're paying attention to monthly expected moves, we see 524.74. We gave you other levels. If you're part of Patreon during the live show, we did give you the other levels we're paying attention to, but you can see it down on the chart where the next one would be. If things are going to get ugly, we have another level to watch for, but we are not there yet, so we will take our time with that one. The dam got topped over. That's what it was. That's what it was. Thank you for mentioning that, Croker, because I mainly was just making sure my brother's okay. All right, that's what I care about. So he's doing good. He had a good birthday. He actually works, and his best friend is a almost a Michelin star chef, and he baked him a cake. So he got a Michelin star cake for his birthday, and I think that's freaking awesome. Hey, Fabio, I wish it right back to you. God bless you, brother. I appreciate you guys being here today, and amen. Man, I need to get with the times, right, Richard? You're still stuck in Jersey Shore, right, Schnooky? No, I'm just playing with you. I love you guys, man. I missed you guys a ton, and I missed feeling good. And wifey is doing so much better that I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I feel so much better. Genuinely, I can't thank anything ever enough. I can't thank pills. I can't thank sleeping. I can't thank God. I can't thank my family. I can't thank my wife, anyone more, because wasn't feeling good. And it's so nice when you're not feeling good for a period of time to just wake up and be like, oh, this is nice. All right, guys. Now, Jonna. Where's Jonna at? Where the heck is Jonna? Jonna, you say hi in this chat right now. You tell me you're here. Long time no see, YS, but I got you, buddy. Where the heck is Jonna? All right, Jonna, we're going to look at Palantir for you. You thought I forgot. I didn't forget. My brain is back, baby. All right, so for Palantir, something that we're looking for here is the retest of 127.17, somewhere in this general area. Weirdly enough, this zone would turn into your green zone. We kind of need to remake this zone, so I will be taking that away for the time being. What you're looking for here is, do we take back the 5? This is actually where we look for rejection, right? We see it's pretty damn controlled. See how it's pretty damn controlled right there? And we just go, okay, so if we're going to reject, we need to turn down. Do we create a divergence? Do we create a higher low? That's how this reverses back around for Palantir. What does Palantir want to see? It might want to see that 2-hour to get some kind of bounce. Is the 2-hour in an area where it is going to just scream to the upside? Well, Palantir does some crazy things, but I think Palantir wants to potentially make a certain shape here. Sorry for drawing like a hooligan, but I think that Palantir could potentially be turning down to then see some kind of reversal to turn up and then reject from these type of levels, giving you the left head and the right shoulder that could have been. We don't have to do that, but that is something that can take place. So do I necessarily want to be in shorts if I see a 30-minute divergence down by that 128, 127 level, and that divergence confirms? Do I want to be in a short position at that point? Well, the technical answer would be no, because all the momentum is pointing this way. When would I want to maybe reapply that position? Well, if I see some kind of reversal or see the 2-hour swing below these type of levels, and we're able to lose that 5 again. So Palantir is very interesting to me. The reason that I would be heavily paying attention to Palantir going to lower levels is because you have blatant divergence here, where Palantir can go a little bit lower, right? Palantir can go maybe take care of this gap at 110. I have a hard time believing that Palantir can go down to here, but it has seen such a good run that I will pay attention to it. I think we could resolve ourselves, though. And if we didn't even want to show that, we can break down to lower levels. We can then curl up and create the structure to break down to lower levels. So we have to see how this shapes up. But if you're taking into consideration Palantir right now, you need to take back this 5. You need to show, hey, I want to remain in a positive trend. And if I curl down, well, then the momentum is going to take me negative, and maybe I need to make a divergence or a higher low before we're able to curl up into positive territory. You still have a solid amount of sellers on the way up, so we will be watching this very carefully. So this means patience might be a virtue here. This also could mean that this is a good confirmation to see what, maybe even a weekly expected move tagged. I got to go to the weekly expected moves to check that out. I want to see how deep it is to see if it at least makes sense. It does make sense, okay? So if the 30-minute does cross here, it can end up at a weekly expected move. It would be a little bit aggressive. It might be touching it with a wick, but it can go to a weekly expected move. Don't expect it to have to, right? Keep your management of the trade in mind. But this could be a 30-minute swing trade down to something like 127 for the time being. If it is going to take back the 5, though, you do not have confirmation of that on your MACD. You have slight confirmation on your RSI, and you are building the confirmation in for the 9 with the price action. So this means I believe that Palantir will possibly even figure this out, curl up. Everyone thinks it's coming back, but they don't realize, oh, that 2 hour is still negative, and boom, we turn to the downside. I think that would be very, very interesting to do so. I am not someone who likes to take 30-minute little swing plays down. That is not normally how I like to do things. If I take swing trades, I am normally looking at the 2 hour or daily chart because I like a little bit more extended out options. But hopefully this information is able to help all kinds of traders out there, whether you're a day trader, or a week trader, a month trader, a 2-month trader, okay? So this is a very, very good time. You did see 2 hour divergence at the top, suggesting that we were going to break down. Hey, we break down on a terrible bar, but we end up going lower to get to the point where we're paying attention. So this top area is where we like to pay attention for now. If we can come into this area and just see extreme buying, that'd be good. But if we lose this area and start to head lower, we keep breaking down over time. I am going to pull away this zone for a moment, just so we don't take into consideration too much, right? We don't want to put all our eggs in these zone type baskets. We want to make sure to be using all of our skills with these type of moves. We do see that AMC very, very close to confirming divergence, but not able to for now. Is this confirming to unconfirm soon? You did get a confirmation here, but it is starting to roll. What is the management for the trade for AMC? This is something that I posted over on Twitter, and I said, if this confirms, I am back in. I am back in technically to AMC, but I never consider it like, I never consider AMC like a real trade, just because I usually just am kind of using the fun account. I'm usually using an amount that is nowhere near going to hurt me. Maybe it's like a hedge size position because the options are so cheap, and I just want to be a part of it if something crazy does happen here. I'm not saying that it has to, but this is the type of signal that you would see before something crazy, just so you are aware. And it has confirmed. If it does unconfirm, meaning the 30-minute is able to turn down here, how close is that to the center line? Very, very close to the center line. So if the 30-minute is able to cross down, do you think it's a good sign that we're going to see a dramatic upside the next day? Or if this just confirms down, do you think it will continue? And with AMC, you have to treat it like it will continue. That is the management for the trade. But if that's able to curl down and whip right back up, hey, I'll be right back in. Sometimes I do like to just hold on to the play, though, because it's the fun account. So I wanted to let you guys know, because I think over the weekend I was like, oh, I'm not holding anything. And then I go, oh, well, AMC confirmed. So I wanted to make sure to clear that up this morning. Wolfie boy, is Wolfie boy doing it again? Wolfie boy, do it. Break through. You break through this zone, you can start to dabble with this zone up here. You break through all of this. Well, you still have to be aware how stocks like to move, right? This might want to retest into this area before going up there, but you are looking for about $4 if you're able to break through the top side of the zone. You can pull back and do whatever, but you are paying attention to $4 if you break the top upside. If you start to lose the downside again, that's where you would be a little bit more worried for Wolfie boy. But congratulations to Wolfie boy, able to curl up even with the bankruptcy. I'm not getting into Wolfie boy personally. I'm not going to do it. I can't. My brain won't let me at this point. I don't know if it's just like normally I'd be like, oh, signals. But I hear bankruptcy and it reminds me of when I was a fundamental trader when I was 21 and lost all my money to that company doing fraud or something. So I'm not saying they're doing fraud. I'm saying I heard of a bankruptcy, and so I would rather just pay attention to other things. But hey, I wish you luck, and I will pay attention to it with you. I will pay attention to it if you bring it up. I will see that the 2 hour is very positive. It looks like you're still in good standing right now for Wolf, and that's what I would say for now. If you were looking to get into a play with Wolf, I'd be looking for any kind of 30-minute pullback. But if you want Wolfie Boy to squeeze, you don't necessarily want to see any of these charts curl down. If you want a mega squeeze, then you don't want to curl down with momentum until you show that squeeze-like behavior. As of right now, we haven't even made it to a daily expected move. Let's check on the Qs, which did make it to a daily expected move. And this is where we can find those buyers, but we will see how today shapes up. It likes the 48 EMA crossover, the 200 on the 15-minute. A 48. Can I ask why you use that, heel toe? Can I ask why you look that? Can you please look at GLD? I'm on the fence and need a second opinion. Yes, we can look at GLD for you. We do see GLD able to make some sort of 30-minute divergence, able to curl down. This is still a very rough sign for something like GLD. It is a rough sign, but I'm going to look at futures for you because we are trying to take back the 5, and we just saw a pullback down into those buyers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take into consideration things over here, and then I am going to talk about it because, oh, look at that. We had it drawn up. Okay, perfect. This is what I was looking for gold futures. I was looking for us to show the new high. I was looking for us to pull back. And I'm looking for potentially us to curl up into positive territory, maybe on the 4-hour chart, which is very, very close to the center line. So very, very nice. We're actually seeing it almost spot on. We're almost spot on with my very quick drawing. So this is still what I'm paying attention to at this point. Looking for a long option. So what you're looking for is right now. You need to see some signs of turnaround. Usually I would look for like 2-hour divergence or something like that. You don't have to do that here. You can just see a 2-hour curl up and start to see positivity. You are pretty damn close to the center line. So 2-hour divergence doesn't look like it is going to form here. So I actually think gold is shaping up for the next move higher like now. That's what it looks like at this point. Use your management for the trade skills. You don't have confirmation yet. So if you get that confirmation, that's more when I would say, okay, yes, now is going to be the time. So I'd be looking at the 2-hour on gold futures. If you are looking at GLD itself, you would pull that down and say, hey, if the 2-hour crosses down, bad. It hasn't crossed down yet. You're getting a rough confirmation, but you have an hour and 40 minutes left. If the 30-minute is able to curl up, keep it simple. Where is the 30-minute? Do we have sellers above us? The answer is yes, but if that 30-minute curls up, where could we go to? Well, we could go for another test of 308, right around 308.70 at this point for GLD. No confirmation just yet, and seller gap, uh-oh. So that's why I would, if you were trying to trade this, just keep an eye on the, say, 2-hour chart here and look at where those sellers are. You might even just draw a little line like this, and then a line like this and say, hey, I want to take that back. But it doesn't mean I can't assume risk earlier and then see if we're going to reject. I have to manage the trade, or see if this trade produces, and then I get a pullback that curls up and we go left head, right shoulder. Does that clear it up at least a little bit? Did some of those things that I just talked about clear it up at all? I just want to make sure, Croker, how you're thinking about it. I've just always used the 48, and that's what I'm used to. That's awesome. Hey, that's fantastic. Perfect. I will take that explanation, heel toe. Okay, Croker, good. Very nice that we already had this drawn up. I forgot that was there. I know that sometimes I'm like, yeah, let's leave it and see if it happens. And boom, we leave it. This is what we saw kind of coming for gold and starting to produce. Yeah, we're not exactly on. We're never trying to be exact, but we are paying attention to how this thing likes to move, and it looks like it wants to move in the upward direction if the 4-hour and 2-hour chart can confirm up into positive territory. Very, very nice. Someone was bringing up Mr. Coin. Let's go look at the coin, Mr. Coinbase, right? Let's go look at that for a moment here. We do see just extreme bullishness. I don't like 4-hour charts for this. I like 2-hour charts because the 2-hour is suggesting that this is a swing trade to the upside. So is Bitcoin about to see positivity? Because if this is confirming, right, this 2-hour bar confirms right now, then you would say it does have some room to get overbought. It does have some room to get to maybe even a weekly expected move if you already created that. Watch out for divergences and things like that towards the top, but if this thing can scale up dramatically, that can be a good thing. Let's go check on Bitcoin, though. That's all I would really say about this. Maybe 30-minute pullback for the opportunity or the next one. We did kind of build up right here, but I still want to leave the availability that these sellers are pretty strong and we might reject one more time to turn back up. Okay, that's something that I would look into. But let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, very, very nice. Turning down as of this moment on the 4-hour chart. That is a lower high type of scenario. So you do have a contradiction between coin and Bitcoin at this point. If Bitcoin is able to confirm this on the 4-hour chart, well, you just scaled up, but you can see an ABC type of move to curl back up into positive territory. We did not necessarily make that right shoulder. We tried to get a retest and we did not see a new high. So it is likely to see some kind of ABC move, potentially all the way down to 106.12. I just want to make sure that that's the level. Yeah, potentially down to 106.12. So coin looks like it's like, hey, I want to go up, but and maybe you take that into consideration. But Bitcoin is like, hey, I kind of look like I'm going to turn down and go negative. So how does this signal fail? Well, the 2-hour has to curl down, and the 2-hour has to be able to remain positive, not show a new low, and be able to curl up into positive territory. So a lot of reactions going on for Bitcoin, but as far as it stands, Bitcoin is curled up on the daily chart. Bitcoin can break through. It's shown its way above these type of levels. That's great. We're trying to make some sort of new trend. So we'll see if this thing is able to remain positive. Housing sector, I did see a lot of people talking badly about housing, and I don't necessarily have that assessment at this point. I know that housing has remained weak for a pretty long period of time. And we've seen positivity with this, but for now, the 4-hour is extremely positive. For now, the 2-hour is extremely positive. So it's very likely to get some kind of 2-hour pullback into the buyers, maybe down towards 647.50, and then we're able to curl up into positive territory. The blue line here is not a trend line. The blue line is what I suggest is going to happen over the next few months going into 2026. As of right now, for volatility, we are keeping a close eye on this. We are very likely to get a 30-minute pull back that then 30-minute confirms to the upside again. That is the most probable scenario here for volatility, is to do this into this, which means that we can see another little move here for an extended period of time from the SPY. So it is a matter of, are we breaking down now, or do we buy time again? Do we see confirmations that can buy time into July 9th at the least? Yeah, so for the SPY, just so you're aware, Boost, we're paying attention to volatility. And really, the reason that you're probably looking at the SPY and going, I don't really see divergence or anything like that. You don't. You don't. But you do in a lot of other areas. You do on the Qs, right? We see the 2-hour divergence on the Qs. IWM is overextended. It looks like it just needs to pull back. DIA is overextended. Looks like it just needs to pull back. So you are very likely to continue the move, weirdly enough. When you look at things like DIA and IWM, you would say continue the move. The only reason that we're pointing out some risk here is if you pull this out to a 4-hour chart, you do have the divergence on the SPX 500, including some more time into that. You do see potential 4-hour divergence, which would like to curl down daily charts. It doesn't mean that it has to, or it would encourage a daily, say, retracement. It doesn't have to, okay? These things can just keep being irrational. So if I see the 2-hour curl up here for the SPX 500, then it is very likely that we are going to see a little bit of that dry upside maybe into Tuesday, where we start to run into some trouble. But for now, we have to see if we're going to break down, because we did confirm those 4-hour signals on Friday morning, weirdly enough. JP Morgan, another stock that is way, way up there, showing the 2-hour divergence right now. So JP Morgan is saying, I'm going to try to top here. If you know, you know. I'm just saying, this is not necessarily something that I like to look at and be like, oh yes, this is going to be all my reasons to go long. No, this is all my reasons not to go long, is what JP Morgan is showing here. Not saying I'm bearish on it, not saying I'm betting against it at this point. I think we still have the opportunity to squeeze in a lot of other names. I just think JP Morgan looks like, hey man, if I confirm this signal and start to lose the 5 here, watch out below. This means that the JP Morgan can lose critical levels, curl back up, and show you some kind of structure to head down. If you want, we can leave that there for the time being. See if that's able to take place. Someone did mention GME. GME is finally able to curl down on the 2-hour. I think this is interesting because we are just tagging the center. We're coming back out of that zone, and we haven't really been able to make the new low this entire time. So if this is some kind of pullback, yes, we are losing the 5. Yes, you should be aware that we can curl on a 30-minute and roll again to actually make those new lows. Yes, we can make divergence. But if this is just going to be a higher low, then I would seriously pay attention to if the 30-minute can curl back up and go positive here. It looks a little bit rough for GME. The daily scale has tried to turn up here. It is not necessarily seeing extreme positivity. So if you are really in this for the long haul, then you're this guy. You're this guy. You got the tinfoil hat on. Still a great level for GME. We just want to be aware if that's going to break down again and again and again. GME really doesn't have like the best things going on, the most clear things going on. I think AMC is a little bit more clear, but it's kind of breaking down. But we have confirmed this on the 2-hour. So AMC is showing you reasons. GME is kind of saying, yes, there are some reasons, but are they sturdy ones? Do they give me obvious confirmation? AMC gives you obvious confirmation. So as I see these two kind of tied together, I've seen them move, as in AMC, for whatever reason, drops by 5% whenever GME drops by 5% or 10% with earnings. I just think that's very interesting. And so they could be in some way correlated if you want to treat it that way. I normally do not, but I do consider it. And I like to take stocks that actually show me the signal. That's why I'm taking AMC with an option. I do hold GME just a little bit on the side just in case. So I guess technically I do have some things in place. It's just I don't consider those. I don't necessarily consider those trades that'll hurt me. I treat them more as fun trades, if that makes sense. Order blocks and things like that, I think it's good to pay attention to where there's a high concentration. I think order blocks can be much more useful, like especially for a day trader, if you're trying to find the level, like, hey, there's a bunch of orders at 600, right? If we're on a day and you have a daily expected move or something like this, and we're right here, and 600 was right here, and like, and I know this is probably not all the time, but if you see a bunch of those blocks up in this area and you go, oh, we're heading up, where do you think we're going to see resistance? Well, probably at 600, right? It's all the same stuff. It's just what are you more comfortable with using? And I prefer daily expected moves over order blocks now. It's not to say you can't prefer them. It's not to say that they're bad to use. I just encourage you to see if there's even more around those areas, right? Do I have a daily expected move around an area with a bunch of blocks? Do I have a weekly expected move around an area with a bunch of blocks? Am I seeing 30-minute divergence at the area with a bunch of blocks? Do I see a 2-hour confirming up or down where that area of those blocks are? Correct? It's not just there's blocks here, so no, it's what is happening around that area. If I see a swing trade, I can use that area as a take profit, just like a weekly or daily expected move. I just noticed that it was heading down into a bunch of order blocks. Yes. So if you want to consider how I look at things, I just pay attention to what? I pay attention to what we're going to retest. So I'm not even paying attention to the order blocks right now. And I think there's probably a bunch of orders down at $22. I don't have to be right. I don't have to look at order blocks, but because I use different things than order blocks to trade, but you yourself could pay attention to an area that I'm paying attention to, right? Oh, he says 22. Well, do I see a bunch of blocks there? Where are those orders, by the way, Matthew, just in case someone in the chat would like to know? Yeah, if you see something that's helpful to you, you are more than welcome to post it in the chat because what's helpful to you could be helpful to someone else. I like it, Matthew. I like what you're paying attention to. I'm just telling you how we can compare it to how I pay attention to it. And I think it's good to have that conversation. See, I don't know if you really want to dip all the way down to 20. I mean, you can. It's not like things are written in stone all the time. It's really not. You can make daily divergence here, even if you really wanted to. I'm not suggesting anything has to or doesn't have to happen. I'm just saying, hey, how do we look at this from the perspective of how I like to view markets? 18 to 20. Ooh, you're making new low. I like daily divergence though, so we'll see if that's going to shape up. Give me that cheap. You know, man, AMC didn't pop on a Monday, so I'm guessing, or I'm sorry, AMC and GME did not pop on a Monday, so I'm guessing we're not going to see a bunch of streamers on today. Well, Apple did see some good things. Apple does like to get 30-minute pullback, and Apple does have 30-minute divergence across. Okay, so we discussed this a little bit last night. The 30-minute divergences are here. We see those 30-minute divergences confirmed. So what is very likely to happen for Apple here? Well, this is where you really look at like, hey, where's my weekly expected move? And where could I dip down to on the 2-hour to start things off? Well, it looks like a point of about 207 is a very good area to pay attention. What's around 207? Well, a gap, right? 207.50, you see right here, 207.61. Oh, okay, so if we're going to go into 207, 207, maybe we go a little deeper to tap into this area, right? The price action stuff as well, and then we're able to curl up into positive territory. Apple is still extremely positive. It's going to have to see some pretty good negativity to break down from here. Apple is weirdly enough, Apple was, I think, used to hold markets up last week, towards the end of the week, but Apple overall is just like in its own world, in my opinion. I love to trade Apple. I say that all the time. I haven't loved trading Apple for the last year. Apple is still, I can go look at my records. Apple is still the stock that I've taken the most trades on. It is the stock that I've taken the least trades on, I think, in the last year. Okay. 2290 down to 2125 on GME. That would keep you in the zone. He's on. I have not looked into there in so long, and me and my wife have some funny shows that we're watching already, so I don't really need any comedy in my life right now, Richard. Just be careful over there, okay? If you do view that chat a lot of the time, be very careful, be cautious. They have a serious bias. They do not think that they're 99% chance things. They think that they are 100% all the time. You look at SMH on the 30-minute and 2-hour. Let's go look at that, okay, Justin? Oh gosh, see, so this is extended on the 30-minute. So be cautious with 30-minute confirmation if you want to take confirmation at any time. Okay, this is very good to hear. Make sure that you're practicing management for the trade practices, right? We are creating the plan for if it goes wrong. If you are taking this and say, I see 30-minute divergence, right? If you're saying that, let's say you're saying that and it's curling down right now and you're very likely to go into at least a price point of, I would say, at least 228. If you're likely to do that, that's fine. If you're thinking this is going to be the moment where it breaks down, that's fine too. I can see it as well. We show the 5 kind of rounding out, we retest that, and we start to see this type of thing happen. And then we go all the way down to 261.17. Like, I get it. I totally get it. But having that management for the trade, as this is an extended signal, is an important thing. What you would rather see is a good 2-hour confirmation. What you would rather see is us lose the 5 and get that good 2-hour confirmation. And that would really lead you into like, hey, okay, now I have the 2-hour. I take that play. If the 30-minute does curl back up, I manage the play. If it curls back down, I get back in. And then we finally see a drop down to like a weekly expected move or something like that for SMH down by this low. That being said, I think you could also, like, I do like to get in early on stuff. Look how cool the hourly looks, just by the way. And the thing is, you might be thinking, how did you know the hourly was be very clear? If you have a 2-hour divergence, guys, if you see it very tight like this, extend it out to an hourly if you think it's a little bit confusing. It will clear it up for you. And then what you do is you just take it like this. You go, okay, I'm looking at hourly confirmation. The 30-minute turning up would be the management for the trade. Okay, Justin? Into positive territory. All right. If it goes down to here and the 30-minute curls up, it can continue. I still like to take profit a little bit, maybe add the position or take 100% profit if the money is good, the trade is done. But if you do that much earlier, right, confirm, 30-minute turns back up, you have to be cautious with looks like this. I got you, Justin. Anyone else watching Dash, keep in mind we have some updates on tariffs this week. That is right. We do have Wednesday. That is why we keep pointing out July 9th. We do have FOMC minutes. Sorry if I kept saying FOMC. You know, sometimes we were talking about blocks, right, this morning, but also we're talking about how sometimes Lucas is a blockhead and he gets too excited and he said FOMC, FOMC. It's FOMC minutes, just so you are aware. Very nice. I think a good thing to keep on your radar, put a little star on it, guys. Put it in its own watch list. Like, put things that you see as critical for market moves and things like that, maybe in your own watch list for this week. I would highly suggest watching Volatility and seeing if it can confirm that it wants to remain in a positive trend, even if we see upside for the SPY and we see this turn down, it is still very positive and above the 5. So just be aware Volatility is suggesting it is here and we could be topping out now. And then we'll go into Wednesday. We'll take these signals into consideration and pay attention to how we can be wrong, okay? I would be very surprised if these are wrong, but we are still in a very irrational market. IWM is in its own world a little bit. IWM is showing like 30-minute divergence, very flat though, across all of the RSI for the 30-minute. I'm in the boat of just thinking to myself, okay, 2-hour pullback would potentially be the next opportunity. Keep it simple. Hey, is this an opportunity right now? Right, let's keep it simple. Let's ask the chat. Is IWM an opportunity right now to go long? Right? Is this a very easy, type of trade where when I see this, oh, I execute on this and it's easy and it works 70% of the time for like, say, a 2-week or a month out option, because I'm talking about my type of scenario. No, it's just not. If it squeezes from here, you say, okay, it squeezed from here. I didn't get in on the last 2-hour pullback. That's my bad. Right? Water under the bridge, guys. When you see things that you miss out on, don't sit there and stare at the thing you're missing out on, right? You want to find something that you're not going to miss out on. And that's perfectly fine to miss things. Markets will always move. Markets will pull back. Even if you think, oh, it'll never pull back again, guess what? It will. And that's the type of scenario you're in right now with, say, like the SPY, say the Qs. People now think, oh, we're not going to, there's no way the SPY goes and tests 600. There's no way the SPY goes down and tests 590. There's no way that the SPY goes down and tests 585. Don't say those words. Never say the words, there is no way that this happens. Because the market is very good at slapping you in the face and saying, hey, you probably should have been not speaking in absolutes. You do not know. I do not know 100% until it actually confirms, until it actually is like sold. You don't know if a 2-hour pullback is coming until the 2-hour pulls back, technically. What we do is we look for signs. We look for reasons, obvious reasons with obvious confirmations that we have an understanding of that can tell us, hey, this is starting to become highly probable to get the 2-hour pullback. Now I can be patient. Hey, I see a 30-minute divergence. Now I can be patient, wait for a 30-minute divergence maybe to pop up, and then I can see that start to turn around once we make a new high. That would be the next trade setup. If it just wants to, say, squeeze and just go, I can't execute that and be right with a higher percentage chance than being wrong most of the time. Consistency is going to be a big thing, and understanding when to be patient is a good thing. And I think with IWM, you're being patient, but it is in its own world where the 2-hour can pull back, and the 2-hour could confirm into positive territory because it is screaming. The same could be said with DIA. Look at DIA making 30-minute divergence and confirming that divergence right now. This is very likely to do what? 2-hour pullback. Where would it pull back to? Well, you would suggest looking at the gaps. You would suggest looking here. You would even look in here. But really, if you want to be simple about it, just look for if the 2-hour curls down and look for if the 2-hour curls up, and you got to swing. This is one, and IWM is one, where I'm thinking about taking just 2-hour swing trades if they confirm. If they don't, then I'm not taking the trade. It's as simple as that. I am perfectly fine with still remaining for the most part, patient. I will go look at Uber. We haven't looked at that for a bit of time. Uber, very nice. Able to curl up on the 2-hour. Do you see how if you were here and you're going, Uber is about to explode. Okay, there's 30-minute divergence and there's a 2-hour that looks like it needs a 2-hour pullback. We, for the most part, pull back with time. But then as you pull back, you go into the buyers, you set up a higher low for the 30-minute, and you go higher. This, just a little bit ago, was where you do your 30-minute work. You see, oh, we're dipping down very aggressively. Oh, we have a higher low, a high, oh, and then we get a big move. Right, so these are the type of things. Now, this is very tight. This is not something that I would necessarily be like, oh, yay, I want to gung-ho for this. I like to be in with these type of things, right? You can see it on the RSI that we had 30-minute divergence down there. Once you get really good at viewing markets, you can potentially, like, I can look at a 2-hour chart and know if there's 30-minute divergence that was there. This is why half the time you hear me say, and then we'll look at the 30-minute divergence, and then I click on the 30-minute chart, and then I go, oh, yeah, there's the 30-minute divergence, right? Give yourself some time, especially if you're new. It's okay. You need time to be looking at these things, especially to trust them. You have to be able to trust the things that you are learning anywhere, in any category, right? If I didn't trust that 1 + 1 = 2, then I'm never going to use 1 + 1 = 2. Okay? And exited? I'd have. I mean, the thing is, it's all decisions. That could have been the right decision at the point. Could be the wrong one. Don't trust 1 + 1. I have to believe myself. You got to believe a little bit and trust yourself. Trust that that maybe was the best decision for you at the time. But I know, Jonna, you and I talked about, we're going to do a more extended private stream, guys. We're going to do a private stream soon that is not necessarily just me breaking down a bunch of stocks and prepping us for the week. We're going to do one where you can come in, especially, you know, people like Jonna and things like that who are really trying to get their time in market. And we're going to discuss a lot of the things that are maybe giving you a little bit of inconfidence in things that you are viewing. Okay? Create. Oh, I like it, Victor. Victor, I like that. I might steal that. Create your mental muscle memory. I do like that. I think that's a great way to put it. Most of the time, if I buy the SPY when the 2-hour is up here, is it a good thing? And that's kind of the way we go about it, at least for an option, especially because timing really does matter. Here we go, man. We're not even going to get that reaction up just yet. So what's this stuff going on about Jay Pizzle? Yes. So I like to stick with categories that I know or that I use in real life that I can easily understand, as far as, like, say, if you're talking about like investing. And then as far as options go, I do the same thing. I like to trade a lot of tech. I like to trade a lot of volatility, right? Volatility is something that I've traded a lot. Volatility and tech are two things that I really like to watch. Started to do more things with, like, say, JP Morgan and other categories, but you can really find where really it's just about, hey, am I comfortable with this? Am I comfortable with my skills? Like, that's the more so it. And I think a good way to put that is kind of like your, if you will, the thing that was just set above you by Victor. It's like sometimes you just need that muscle memory of looking at any stocks and seeing how they move to convince yourself, okay, now I just want to find something I'm comfortable with. What I'm comfortable with could be different for you. Right now, investing wise, I am comfortable with a stock that has necessities, a stock that I actually visit frequently for certain things for my baby girl and the baby on the way. But you guys know that that is Target, right? So Target is one that I've been shouting out for a long time. This is one that I'm invested in. This is my one true investment, and I'm going to hold on to this for potentially 5 years as long as I don't see anything bad within those 5 years, like extremely bad. But it is nice. It is nice to see Target break to the upside here and go extremely positive on the daily scale. I will say that. I do like PayPal. So I guess to fully answer that question of is it good for you to specialize in that for the portfolio, a lot of people would say diversify. Yeah, a lot of people would say diversify, but it's also about like if you diversify, how much, if you're really investing, how much are you paying attention to markets? Like if you're investing, act like an investor. An investor doesn't necessarily watch the 30-minute chart every single day. An investor will potentially pay attention to monthly moves and 2-hour divergence, daily divergence, and things like that. But those are shorter term investors. If you're trying to go longer term, like even longer, as in like a year to 5 years, I don't see the real big point in paying attention to 2-hour charts. You're more looking at dailies. But yeah, I think it's going to be on an individual basis. I'm never someone who puts myself in a box and says like, oh, I have to diversify. No, if I like AMD and I like Nvidia and I like 3 other stocks that are similar to those, that's fine. I just better be very right because they're all going to move the same, right? I like Target just because it looks great. Like that's it. It looks great. I use the company on a say monthly basis. Like I physically go into the company on a monthly basis. I know that they're potentially opening up even more stores. They're one of the only stores that actually truly has a big baby section still, and I really like that. There are certain parts of Target that I don't like. That's perfectly fine, and I can weigh the risk and reward there and make decisions. Wolf files for bank. Well, that's not what happened at all. That is not what's going on at all. Do not phrase it as Wolf files for bankruptcy and then goes up. That is not what happened. Wolf filed for bankruptcy and it continues to break down, right? This was the bankruptcy, correct? This is when that was announced. Then you set up, hey, we are completely overdone. Maybe there's more to it than just the bankruptcy and you can pay attention. But once again, if I hear a stock is bankrupt or going bankrupt, I'm not necessarily someone who's like, yeah, I want to invest in that for a long period of time, right? There might be a little bit too much risk for me. It doesn't mean there's too much risk for you. It's all an individual basis here, but there you go. It looks like it should theoretically, right? Looking at this, you would say we broke out of this. Where would it like to test? There's a ton of sellers in here. You have a big sell wall all throughout this gap. But if it wants to behave like a ping ponger, like it wants to come back, if this wants to come back, it at least has to show its head above like $4, in my opinion. And really, you would like to see it get above like $5 at this point, 480. Very nice, though. Yeah, don't phrase it like, oh, it went bankrupt and now we go up. No, it went bankrupt and you went extremely down. And you're still extremely down, technically, from the bankruptcy. Like, as someone knew before you did in here, but if you say this, it's like you are still down 37%. So don't sit there and act like, don't sit there and act like Wolf's like up 37% from being bankrupt. No, they are still down 37%. Okay? And that's not me trying to hate on you or anything. I'm just explaining it how I see it. You know, I'm sorry, Richard. That gave me a little giggle. not not everyone, not everyone is heel toe and can hold through turmoil with GME and AMC. No, I get you, but this is what happens. It's very difficult to see something like this coming. Your daily divergence on the MACD is all you have here. So you do have reasons, but those reasons are limited. So you would lean towards rejection in the bottom side of this zone, weirdly enough. But because of the structure, you're going, even if we reject, can we remain positive? That's going to be a big deal. If you guys want, if this starts to scream, we can potentially make like a weekly expected move for next week if it starts to like scream. If you guys really want to. I'm sorry. Daily Pizza, say that again. 1150? I think are we missing a did we put the dot in the wrong place? I just want to make sure. Tesla is showing you what is Tesla showing you? Right? Levels are levels, but what is Tesla showing you right now? Is it showing you anything by a weekly expected move? Are you seeing something interesting? Do you see an hourly chart curling down, an hourly chart that can confirm up? Right? Do you see the 2 hour that might need to see a big move to the upside? What's going on for you with your skills? Right, that's going to be the important part. Right now, you're ping ponging. So what do I think? I think you're going to potentially even see a reaction up to 330. Maybe that 325.12 again becomes important. Give me a moment, guys. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick, and then I will be right back. Okay, so sit here on the SPY just for a moment. We'll keep paying attention to how this thing moves. I do have a little bit of extra time this morning, so don't expect me to go anywhere early. I'm feeling good. All right, I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Oh boy, I thought I was feeling good, but now I'm feeling even better. Why? Because I just lost 2 pounds. Oh my goodness, congratulate. God, my goodness, look at me losing weight over here. That's just fantastic. Oh goodness. Oh gosh, what a good day. um, yeah, I think we've really thought you know I've had a break. I gotta show you, man. I took the cutest picture. Um, we took a nice little picture. Is pretty nice. We'll have to throw that one out there at some point. But really, we've gotten through a lot of the things we need to pay attention to, and now it's our job just to do what? Really, just watch, right? We're seeing. Is it safe for work? Oh god. So yeah, I think we're really aware of what we need to be aware of. We know this can extend into potentially at least July 9th. We know it can continue for as long as it really wants to with that lower percentage chance, but the higher percentage things are starting to be becoming even higher percentage things. That's what's crazy. We can always violate and go higher, right? Oh, TSLL. Okay, I thought you were saying Tesla. I'm sorry about that, Daily Pizza. TSLL. Okay. So this guy, yeah. Good thing that you're mentioning. Do your research on actual Tesla. I think that's great, Daily Pizza. Shout out to you, buddy. I think that's awesome. And I had pizza yesterday, so awesome, awesome, awesome all around. Looking for the leveraged ones, what do you consider here as far as this goes? Well, TSLL, I don't have to make a weekly expected move for TSLL. I want to make a weekly expected move for Tesla. Tesla is down at the weekly expected move this early on in the week, so it's either going to see something crazy or it's early on in the week and it's just going to bounce up and we're going to see it confirm above that by Friday. So when you take into consideration Tesla, you are seeing forms of divergence there. So what do I think? I think if those divergences confirm, you're at least going to see a 2-hour bounce to the upside. It could be sideways. It could be daily pullback. It could be, or I'm sorry, not daily pullback. It could be sideways. It could be 2-hour dead cat bounce. It could be 2-hour reversal at that point. A lot of different things can happen with 30-minute divergence. You'd be surprised. But for now, you would say, I'm at a weekly expected move. Do I want to go short here? Right? That's the question. I'm at the weekly expected move. Do I want to go long here? Right? If you're saying, hey, I want to take something here, and you look at just the simple scenario of long versus short, you going short here would technically be like contradicting all of the weekly expected move early on in the week. So it is in my best interest to pay attention to if we would bounce. Now, I don't think this is a very clear 30-minute. I mean, you can utilize it and say, because there is 30-minute divergence here. So if the 30-minute confirms, what is likely to happen? The 2 hours likely to go where? A weekly expected move. Weirdly enough, you could hit the bottom side weekly expected move, then like maybe even next week's weekly expected move upside or this week's. So that means for a stock like Tesla, it just tested that lower zone. It is starting to contract. And so it is very likely, in my opinion, to at least try to test 325. But it is even another thing that you can say is likely is try to test this zone at like 331. That would be a great place to pay attention, but you're really looking right here. If you confirm divergence, that 2-hour can move up and we can confirm down. If the 2 hour is able to hold that floor, we just see positive trend. We break the upside. We start to go in that upward direction and continue, right? We always pay attention to how it can irrationally continue. Tesla is a very difficult one, in my opinion. Like, not saying with the signal right now. I actually think the signals are very nice to you right now. I actually think at the weekly expected move, it's being very nice to you right now. I just mean it has a very high implied volatility. So usually you want to be a little bit quick with it. I think so. I think it has pulled back. I don't know if it's done yet, right? Tesla's a beast, right? Tesla is the one that rammed to the upside. Who's to say that Tesla's not the one that has to come and take care of this gap all the way down here? Who's to say that this isn't right? So I get you, but at the same time, weekly expected move, it would say, is that going to happen right now? Well, based on our skills, we would say, it's more likely to happen a little bit later. So with your assessment on TSLL, you would say, well, I think it is more probable to get a bounce here than it is to completely collapse. And that's fine to say. And Matthew's sitting there saying it for me, so that's perfect. You have a 68% chance that Tesla is going to close on Friday above the price that it's at right now, and you have a long time for that to shape up. I'm kind of in that thinking too, Suri. I rarely would enjoy trying to go against Tesla when it's down by a weekly expected move. I rarely would enjoy that. You could be in a time, though, where you're consolidating in some way. You see how we're kind of, maybe we do this. And this goes up to here, then we break down, or this goes up to here, then we do this, then we break to the upside, or we just go. I don't think a triangle here would be a bad thing to draw. We can even draw it up. If we want to like take a break from these zones for a sec, since we've known we've been ping-ponging for a bit. Let's kind of do this. Yeah, we'll do this. Usually you want 3 points. Then you would say, okay, are we going to get tight in here? Maybe I'm not that good at seeing the tightness in these, and maybe I need to pull up some Bollinger Bands. If they'll freaking load, there we go. And you see how you're getting tighter and tighter? If you just need to display to yourself, hey, is the stock, consolidating? Is it tight or is it expanding? Is it contracting? Is it expanding? Bollinger Bands are a great thing just to clear up your head with that. Tesla 297. Woo! Ooh! Ooh! Well, let's see. Yeah, I mean, Tesla to 180.92 does make sense if you get a weekly confirmation. You have to see a weekly confirmation. That was a joke, but maybe. Yeah, 97. Let's see if 97 is a good level to pay attention to. That would be a new low, man. I don't think you're going to get 97 until 2027. Do you see how on the weekly, though, we could be this dead cat bounce? Blech. Oh, no. We break down into September, and then we cut those rates, baby. Baby, let's cut those rates. Yeah, Amazon's still not seeing anything that's violating divergence, so you got to be a little cautious with this one. This one is suggesting, hey, a weekly downside move. If I confirm, I'm going to that. Can Tesla hit 277 this week? It would be contradictory to the weekly expected move. That would be around the second standard deviations. Actually, I believe your second standard deviation might even be around the monthly move. I will check for you. Yeah, so 277 is like barely on the table. Now, I treat this as 277 is not on the table with a high percentage chance. If you confirm that divergence, it's pretty much 277 is not on the table for Tesla. If you consider the 95% line for the week, then yes. But if this just confirms up, then no. You are going to continue to ping pong until you see a break. Right? Maybe this. In some way. It's kind of a reach too. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh yeah, that's very very clear." No, that's kind of a reach, but that's it. That is something you would look for. If this were to break down to 277, show that new low, then curl back up and reject from these areas that 325, well, you would kind of see what's going on here. I'm not leaning towards that. That is a less probable thing to happen as of right now. but it is pointing in that direction. So if the 30-minute can confirm up, you would be expecting a 2-hour move to the upside. And then if we can roll, next week we might be talking about 277. Just that's a massive gap. Oh, yes. Thank you. Nice. My headphones are finally in. I don't have to wear these little ones in my ears anymore. I just like silence. I don't like hearing my own voice. I sound like a nasally feminine guy sometimes, so I don't like hearing my own voice. Just one of those. Okay, people have been this one up to CRCL. Okay, why are so many people bringing this up? 30-minute higher low, taking back. 2-hour confirming up. Solid move. You're very likely to see lower high because this was so aggressive. So you'd want to see good structure throughout this move, meaning there's probably something here. If you can do that, right? Management for the trade over here. But this is actually the first leg where you can maybe catch a little something. And then what you would look for is a pullback. And then this would be the second leg. And then around these type of levels, you got to be like, okay, I got to be very on guard. Hopefully you're able to just pull it back and go again. Yeah, this is kind of the structure you'd be looking for. Bam, bam, bam. We can leave that there as well since so many people are asking about it. And this would want to dip down potentially into that wick. So I'm going to put it a little lower. But this is kind of what you're looking for over here. But this is that first moment where you can see some kind of extended move. So if the 30-minute wants to, it could like pull back and retest. And then if that confirms up again, you just don't want to see a new low or else this ain't going to happen. Break this, it's totally different. Beautiful structure. What beautiful structure we have here today. Today we are looking for liquidity for the SPY. I hate my voice too. I don't hate my voice. I just don't like hearing it myself. You know? I can't hate my voice. I can't hate my voice. It's the only voice I got. I'm not going to hate it. But I can be like, oh, I don't like to hear it. There we go. We're good. We're good. We're good. About to have to. You. Holding. I mean, truly 2 hour. What a gap. See if we can hold it like 17 bucks. Learn the structure. You must learn the skills. I love that voice, man. I think it's so fun. I still wonder to this day if that's real. Like that could be AI. I would believe that in a heartbeat. Yo, I'm nervous for Tesla though. I'm not gonna lie. Why is Tesla setting up a divergence when volatility is trying to pop off? Ugh. Like I'm nervous about this. I am. If I'm being 100% honest, I am worried about this, but just because we're not, nothing else has really tumbled yet, and Tesla already has. Tesla's kind of a scary guy. Went out and got me a nice big coffee for today. Oh my goodness, it tastes so good. Let's click through TLT, nothing there. Let's look at yields. 2-hour scale. 2-hour pullback into 2-hour continuation. Yields most likely will continue higher. Dollar a really want to go a little bit higher, but dollar a reaction off the 5 still necessary. Maybe even just continue to go. 5, we're good there. Let's look at Apple. 2-hour scale. That's really high up. Tesla is the really interesting one, showing a reversal signal while everything else is showing a little bit like it wants to top out, right? Amazon 2-hour divergence, Nvidia 2-hour divergence. AMD already breaking down, not able to get that divergence that I really wanted. That's okay. We can go a little bit lower, but that 2-hour could turn up at any point. We'll see. It's still positive. We are rejecting down again. Maybe looking for 30-minute divergence for AMD would be a good thing. If we're going to continue to be irrational, we need to break down further for now. What's the move I'm trying to get to here for AMD? Let's see. We can go lower. That's for sure. We can go lower. Don't want SPY to gap fill. Been there, dude. You're like, God, I don't want that to happen. Meta, still, look at this. The 2-hour pulling down. The 2-hour can see another reaction up. Interesting, right? We still can extend these type of moves. Maybe that level of 750 starts to come into play. Microsoft, you see how we could extend this move just a little bit to like a weekly move. I really want to see what's going on here. Now, Google, I don't like that look. I don't think you're going to have forms of divergence, but it does look like it's creating a lower high in some way. 30-minute is trying to go negative right now. You're seeing if that's actually able to do so. AMC finally starting to see positivity. AMC has confirmed a 2-hour signal here, suggesting that the daily can turn around. Pretty much in a very good area. Now, we did break the low, so you have to take that into consideration. We still need to break above like 320 to be happy with it. GME tapping down into the zone. That's perfectly fine for now. You just really don't want that to make a new low here from the previous. We do not want to see a new low below these areas, or else you are starting to create structure for what? Like this. This is what you don't want to see. DJT trying to make some kind of comeback. We actually shouted out DJT with 2-hour divergence a little bit last week. Bam, you see 2-hour divergence. Bam, you see a daily move to the upside. Watch out for 2114. If you're not able to take that back, you're looking at the bottom of the zone for now. Could need daily divergence before it comes back. This would be a very, very nice time for DJT to scale up, scale down, then go for the take back. SoFi, screaming. This is not the correct level for SoFi anymore. We can give you that updated level if we ever get to it. But you do have 2-hour divergence here for SoFi as well. Palantir looks like the 2-hour wants to try to go positive here, looking pretty damn flaggy, or at least controlled, if you will. If the 30-minute is able to confirm down, I would more so be starting to lean towards a higher low in some way. But the 2-hour is negative, so this is very likely to be a 2-hour lower high. Gold, we did go over this pretty thoroughly, how I view gold. If you want my view on gold, you have to look at futures. This is what I think is going to take place. I am not moving it. I am leaving it there, and I am chilling. I am not going to cheat and act like I know exactly what's going to happen, but I do have a good idea for how this would like to move. The 2-hour can start to confirm up. The 4-hour confirms up. Gold can make a move. You are seeing as well divergence here for AVGO. These things can extend for a little period of time, but it looks like time is limited unless you squeeze, and time is very limited for something like JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan looks like time might be limited here as well. You have 2-hour divergence on JP Morgan. The reason that I keep showing these, the reason I wanted to click through a lot of these was so that you can see it for yourself. You can analyze it for yourself. You can look at, maybe now you're like, oh, I didn't see this from JP Morgan. Maybe I would like to execute a trade. right? Just like the Palantir trade in the past, that was obvious. JP Morgan and other ones are showing obvious things too. This could mean that we are about to get the first reaction down to potential lower weekly expected moves. The confusing one right now is Tesla. Nice. I hope Tesla continues the dump. You are outside of your 68% line, just so you're aware, Dr. Quality Control. Right? This means if I wasn't part of that massive gap, then I'd be looking for a bounce and reversal. Does SPY want a gap fill? Probably for a trap. The 30-minute isn't showing it in regular hours, right? But you kind of look over here and you go, oh, okay, all right, oh, my goodness. Okay, if we get and then we turn up, okay, we can continue the move. But it looks like we're trying to top out at some point here. You're even seeing VIX 9-day a little bit closer. You're seeing it confirm daily divergence today. So guys, this is what you see as topping signals. Yes, we can be irrational. Yes, they can fail, but you do have topping signals that are confirming as of today. We'll look at it at the end of the day and see if they're actually confirmed and what's more probable. So make sure that you have notifications on. Make sure that you are subscribed if you're not normally here with us so that you can get some moves for tomorrow. If implied volatility is going to rise, VIX going up would suggest that implied volatility is going to rise a little bit. MAGs showing daily divergence as well. Daily divergence here, by the way, for MAGs says 4750 is actually pretty damn probable, but we'll look if that's a little bit weaker. This point right here, about 52, 5190. That would be a good area for the daily to pull back to as well. Are you guys hearing? I would like to see what you guys are hearing out there. Is most of the information that you're taking in and most of the opinions that you're hearing out there, would you say that they are bullish or it's hard to say in this scenario because we're so bullish, but I would more so look at it and just go, are most people forgetting that we could see a daily retracement? I lean towards basing out a top for the time being. Don't see a dump until August when tariff narrative can come back into full effect. And I think you're correct in pointing that out. We can leak higher. There is a scenario. We've talked about it before. There are scenarios where you're just irrational all throughout July and you keep going up, 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 and up. And then like you just 2 hour pullback, 2 hour go up, and you're up for almost all of July. So if that is going to take place, then we'd be looking at my birthday month, August, and going, uh-oh, now the risk is elevated there. We pay attention to times of weakness, but we pay attention to if that weakness can go away. If that weakness goes away, then that means we're going to squeeze. That's what usually happens. Weakness, divergence, divergence. We see it go away, bounce. Weakness, divergence. It goes away, we squeeze. Right, so when you actually see the full 2 hour thing happen, bam. So if that happens again, then what do you think is happening again? You know, it's kind of how it goes. If that one then fails, all right, we'll look for those things as well. You're in a different look now. You're completely different than previous times. You're completely different. You have daily triple divergence for VIX. You have daily divergence for VIX 9-day. You have daily divergence for a bunch of stocks. You have 2 hour divergence for a bunch of stocks. Tesla is a weird look. Apple's holding up well, but all it has to do is sit here. All it has to do is sit here, right? When have we seen big moves? In the morning and in the very late stages of the afternoon. So if you're going to get a big move from Apple in the morning, you're seeing that happen. You went up to 216, almost 216, 20-ish, and now you're down at 212, right? So then by later in the afternoon, do we see another sell-off? By tomorrow morning, do we see another sell-off to actually get a 2 hour pullback down into something like 207, right? It's not suggesting this has to be extremely weak. I physically cannot say that I'm like, oh yes, Apple is going to crash down. Now, Apple is very likely to 2-hour pullback and curl up into positive territory. That is the most probable thing if you just look at a 2-hour chart. How many times Apple has gone positive, pulled back, and then turned up? You go look at when it starts positive trends, you can figure that out. We'll do that maybe in a private stream, actually. But we click through all of these so that you can see it for yourself and you can do what you know how to do. Try to execute and have a plan for if you're wrong. Don't treat it like you're 100%. Don't be cocky. Be humble and understand you can be wrong. The one who humbles himself will be the one who's able to react. The one who thinks that nothing can go wrong is usually the one that will not react and everything will start to go wrong. It's a psychological thing. So in a lot of psychology, if you believe nothing can go wrong, then you also would say that everything can go wrong because you can be taken off guard. So that is something, that's a big point I try to get across to people. Don't believe in absolutes with markets. Always have this little guy in mind and use your skills. When something good starts to happen, pay attention to good levels. But then always be this guy if you start to curl up. I started your book. I love it. Do you really like it, Jonna? Have you gotten through a good portion of it? Isn't it awesome? Doesn't it kind of just get you to kind of reflect on how you think about money? Not me, not Toronto, not Nancy. And Nancy, we can look at that for you. But Jonna, yeah, it's just trust me, you're gonna have more and more fun. The book is The Psychology of Money. It is not a book that is necessarily to say it's going to directly help you with trading, but it will help you in how you view money, which can change how you trade. Right? Oh, I'm someone who saves. Oh, I'm someone who likes to save money for a longer period of time. Okay, maybe you'd be better at investing, right? Seems like you're a pretty patient person. You have good control over your impulses and money. That's good. Maybe I am super impulsive. Maybe I need to change that. It will give you things to reflect on to become better. And I think that's great. So Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, I believe. Yep, I have it right behind me, actually. I'll grab it. I can't wait to get a bookshelf. Not my other ones. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I read this in like 2 days. It was so good. I've always wanted to read it, and it was so good. A lot of the things that you read in this book, you will think about and be like, "Wow, we've talked a lot about this." You know, it's such a good read, guys. It's $10. I guarantee you, this $10 on this book can at least do more for you than a lot of other things. If anything, it could just convince you to create a savings with $2,000 in it. And you could build that up for a full year if you're not in a place where you're making tons of money. That's okay. Everyone's different. We grew up in different times. We think about money differently. This is why I can't talk to people over the age of 60 a lot of the time about markets and about money because they grew up in such different times. They all had 401ks that were started when the SPY was at 300, 200, and things like that. So we can't think about markets the same. Is it available at Target? Actually, I would suggest I can post a link if you'd really like it. If you'd really like to just check it out. I do post this link from time to time, guys. It's not anything to say like you have to do it. It's just if you want to really give you, I think reading about these things is not only good for your figuring out how you really understand money, but it's also good for you to just kind of give your brain a workout. I think that people need to read books more instead of like thinking that this guy on the internet, being someone even like me, is going to be able to help you the most. Sometimes viewing it for yourself and thinking about it for yourself on an individual level can be a great thing. And even right now, if you actually go see I believe you can get it on Amazon audiobook completely for free, but it's $11 for the paperback copy that I do have. Currently, it is 45% off. So I will share this in the chat real quick. It is just good, and I will shout this out plenty of times. It is not my book. If I ever made a book, it would not be probably like that, but that's the link right there. It is a great one to test out your thinking about money and maybe understand yourself a little bit better, because I don't think we do that. We need to do some more reflection. Me, myself, it caused me to reflect on things as well. And I made changes. Do you guys know when I started to say this phrasing of like, I'm not going to give these big companies money unless I'm actually using their product. I used to just have a Netflix account and I would watch a show the first month, and I wouldn't really like anything the second month or third month. Then I'd watch a show the fourth month. Well, why wouldn't I just buy Netflix here, sell it, and then not be in it, not my show? Oh, a show I like is on there. Okay, I buy it back. And little things like that matter over time. Saving a little bit of like, say, $20 to $40 for a couple of months for 30 years will stack up. Or it at least saves you money to potentially take that nice girl that you've been trying to talk to and invite her to go out for a date. That is one of the things that it caused me to do. I said, I'm wasting money in places that, even though they're little amounts, they can affect me over time. Very, very nice. We have now seen the SPY hit the daily expected move. So we're going to look at something here. We're going to go into our little day trading for a second, right? We're just going to see if the 5-minute has anything for us. It does not. Now, the 5-minute is very likely to bounce. Where is the 5-minute likely to bounce to? It is likely to try to take into this gap. And then you have to see if we're able to extend, right? But it's very likely to do what? Try to react up, and then we'll see if that's able to reverse back down. Maybe we see a divergence at the end of the day. Pay attention to that. That's for day traders. I'm not a day trader. I am someone who looks at markets and I go, how do I want to position myself for a bit of time? And then I take profit in chunks on the way up or down. Right now, I am really looking at volatility. Right now, I'm still looking at things like AMC that could potentially have big moves for some fun. But I am looking at volatility to potentially get a 30-minute pullback, and then I might have to make a decision here. Make a bigger decision. Hope you had a good long weekend. Yeah, you too, Laws. Thanks for joining us, though. Hey, late, still here, buddy. I got it on Audible. We'll drive 8 hours so kids will listen to. Hey, that's awesome. I hope you guys are safe out there. That's awesome, Jonah. Oh, the kids will listen too. Let it mold into those pudding brains. In my calls for SPY now, hey, this is Chris's game, man. Now we're on Chris's time. We hit a daily expected move, so now you're on Chris's time. I wish you luck, Chris. I wish you some luck, my buddy. But you're doing it. You know, the thing about Chris is you're paying attention to the right things, right? You didn't say, "Hey, I'm buying a call right when the market opened." You said, "No, I'm going to be patient. If we get to that weekly or that daily expected move, maybe I can catch a bounce." I like it, Chris. Nice and simple. Because whether we like it or not, we don't see it in regular hours for the SPY, but we're seeing confirmations like everywhere else, unfortunately. This one. That's pretty deep too. 2 hours still has a ways to go to confirm. Ooh, the only way it goes wrong, Chris, is you haven't even seen 5 minutes confirm, but pay attention to how it can go wrong. Who the heck did something? Who the heck subscribed? Juice? That's what we say to my daughter, and then she says, "I want Jews," and I'm like, "We're Christian, but you know, that's cool." Like, that's cool. It's the little things like that that gets you through your day. The little giggles, you know? Yes, that is the stair step line. Yeah, so that is your 5-day. The reason it looks very stair steppy, Matthew, I'll pull you. It's a daily 5-day, right? It's a 5-day, so it'll look nice and curvy on the daily. But once you start to break it down into shorter, you're gonna see these bumps. If you want to set that up, by the way, just look here. Just type this, just SMA, moving average simple SMA, right? You click that, and then you just go into the settings. You go into inputs, 5, close, none, 14.2, all that good stuff. But you want to do time frame daily because it will come as time frame chart, right? So you want that on time frame daily so that it only shows you the daily. It's just to give you some good direction as well, some good direction for that trend. Red cheese, orange cheese. I love it. The impressive words that my daughter can say is zapato. Zapato. She can say that very, very well. And then knuckles. She literally says knuckles. And then she goes around and pounds it, and every single time she does it, she has to do it to everyone around. So if you guys ever run into me on the street and with my baby girl, you can say knuckles, and then she might give you a little fist bump. All right. But yeah, Matthew. So if you want to set that up real quick, just type in the indicators here, SMA, moving average simple right here. Okay, buddy. Squashages. Kids are such a blessing. It's insane. It has changed my life for the better. I can tell you that. I love that baby girl more than anything, and there's nothing that you can explain about a hug from your baby. It is insane. First name Juicy, last name Juice. We need the market better get some juice, or else it's really looking like it wants to tip, right, buddy? Black Monday. Should we change the title? Black Tuesday, Terrifying Tuesday. I hate overhyping the downside, even though I think you can see something aggressive for the retracement. Moments where you see things that are a little bit more aggressive for a short period of time, I think you could see something aggressive. We were able to break to new high without doing any of that, right? We didn't do. We still haven't fully seen one of these or one of these. So if you haven't seen one and you're just kind of holding up better, you can always do this and then go, right? It can be a little bit more aggressive. Similar to here, right? You see how we just went up, 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 then you go through something aggressive, and then you start that again. And then you go through something aggressive, right? So I think we could see something aggressive soon. I'm still looking at the point here of about 585, if you want the level that I like. And then our job is just to look at everything in between and try to make some money and use our skills, right? Just change the title to It's Happening. Why does that make me think of Bridesmaids? Didn't know about changing chart to daily. Was trying to figure out how you kept it on the daily. Thank you. Did you get it, Matthew? Make sure, give me a thumbs up or something, okay? Nothing ever happens. That's the sad part about markets. They try to go as high as they can, ignoring risk and showing things very irrational until it actually is like to the brink. It's the unfortunate thing. That's what we're doing right now. We already have all the bad things, right? People are talking about 50% potential for a 50% crash and things like that. You already have that. You have those potentials here, right? You already have it. You have those potentials at multiple levels. You had it here. But what we're saying is the market likes to ignore a lot of things a lot of the time, and more so pay attention to positivity and FOMO towards tops than that. So really everything that you're experiencing here, 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 right? And then we get into here and we start to run into trouble. So what we're doing right now is we're going to ignore a lot of the things, and a lot of those things will seem like they're going away, but we are very likely to run into a problem towards 2026 based on how money is moving. If we still won't talk about this in a different way, we still will be very critical and very aware of how it can continue, right? But we will still be like, hey, this is where bad things can happen. And if it happens sooner, it happens sooner. If it happens later, it happens later. That's our job. Is it going to continue? What do we see in front of us? It's not, hey, we see this at this point, so it has to go down. Did it change? If it changes, you change. Anxiety over YouTube titles. Now I know they're all bait and click. Yeah, so a lot of it is bait and click. I try to give a good middle ground because, you know, it's sad. It is sad, but you have to. The YouTube algorithm, it's like if you don't do that, you're never going to see anyone. And if I want to be as helpful as possible, I have to be able to see you. So a lot of the time, I try to keep it like either very sarcastic in the thumbnail, and then the title is just like, just kidding, you know, or I'm trying to be as mellow about it as possible. Yeah, it's just like markets. We have to play their game. It's the same thing. We have to play the game of the certain companies that have control over their systems. Who cares if it's clickbait? Just watch the video. Exactly. The content in the video is what matters, right? But then his good vibes trading room kept me here. That's great, Nels. I'm sorry I clickbaited you, big dog. You might have been around for that. You might have been around for this thumbnail. What was that thumbnail where I was like, the market will crash by 80% tomorrow, and everyone clicked on it, and I was like, yeah. And at the very beginning of the video, I was like, you know, I pretty much at the very beginning of the video was like, I clickbaited you, like I told you I did, because I wanted to show how they were going to be wrong. Do you know when I did that clickbait? I think it was right here. I think it was right here. I was like, we are going to crash into oblivion with Black Monday. And then the whole video was about how we are going to bounce up. And then we actually crashed lower. And then I did another one right here and I go, we're going to bounce up. Right? These are trades. This is like bear market trades. And this is the one, I will admit, I got this one wrong because of the big gap down. We could have turned around here, but we didn't price everything in yet. I can admit that. That's perfectly fine. Don't act like you're perfect. You're not. I'm not. That's awesome, Nels. That's awesome. It's because people like, and I do respect Dorit Trading. I do. You guys had me view him a few times, and I told you guys I would. And I think that he's not a bad voice out there. But he understands that in order to help people, you have to be a little bit tricky in getting them to accept or click on the help that you want to give. Oh, Jonty, what'd you delete? Did you want me to look at something? Buy these stocks if you want to be a millionaire. Yeah, those are YouTubers. Probably not very good traders. Maybe investors. They might be investors. There's probably certain ones you could find that are playing the game just like me. Right? But I'm not going to be, you know, if you want updates during market hours and things like that, well, that's what Patreon's for. All right, guys. Well, we're going into this market. We're down at the daily expected moves. I'm sure Chris really wants to see a bounce here, but volatility, I would highly, highly encourage people to just pay attention to volatility. I think we can still see this pull back, right, into this type of area. But so you are aware right now, not just me. Remember, we kept saying we have to wait to see the reaction on Monday. We have to wait to see the reaction on Monday. As far as volatility goes for the reaction on Monday, you have a 2-hour confirming divergence. As far as volatility goes for Monday, you are confirming possibly even a daily chart. Look at that MACD, that tiny, tiny little green bar. So you have to understand that volatility can come in this week aggressively. It can fail. I'm not choosing to play things that are going to fail right now. If we get big 2-hour pullbacks, just like we did earlier on, I potentially would take something that looks like this in here, right? If we can see an extended period of time where we're a little bit weaker, not super weak, but we actually create reversal signals, that's more when I will make a decision. I think it was the Qs that really showed that flatness. So, yeah, and you just have to be aware that these things are popping up in regular hours for like the Qs, for a lot of the individual stocks. If you want to run through them, Apple looks like 2-hour pullback. Tesla looks like 30-minute divergence could form, but also could experience something crazy to the downside. So this is where you just want to have your management for the trade and watch for confirmations. You have 2-hour divergence on Amazon. You have Nvidia with 2-hour divergence that is rejecting as of right now. No good confirmations yet there. You have AMD that's rolling the move again through the center point of 138.41. Sorry about that, I burped. You have Meta that says, hey, I could continue for a second, but maybe my 30-minute just rolls. You have Microsoft trying to potentially double top, but also look for 2-hour confirmation. The timing might be necessary there. Google, you have this one that just looks like, hey, I need at least a 2-hour pullback. I'm looking a little bit weak. Is this a lower high, and are we going to go into a negative trend? Well, on the other side of it, you see AMC confirming a 2-hour divergence to the upside, and you're looking at the management of the trade very, very carefully here. GME does not look nearly as good as AMC. That is very, very clear to us at this point, but it has not made a new low. If it wants to go down, this is kind of how I see it. DJT is trying to see some kind of upward move. If that 2-hour confirms down, though, it's really close to going negative. You have SoFi creating potential 2-hour divergences. You have Palantir that created those divergences that we called out and posted this to Patreon, and boom, to the downside. We do see some scary things out there. Gold, looking at gold futures, we are looking for the structure to head higher, and you have that structure now. You're looking for confirmations to the upside for GLD. I suggest looking at gold futures. I think that can clear up your thinking a little bit because there's so many gaps over there, but look at it trying to go. This is what we had drawn up last week, and this is what's actually taking place now. AVGO trying to give some kind of double top can continue a little bit, right? We're looking for good confirmations now. JP Morgan looks like it's on its last leg, and I think that if it wanted to break down, this would be how you would want to do so. So looking at all these things, taking them all into consideration and really looking at volatility, the main thing we were looking for to give us that sense of weakness, you have potential for double bottom divergence, or maybe it is higher low. I think you'd more so just barely say higher low, but it is able to take back the 5. So pullbacks might just cause even more reactions for volatility. So we have to be very much so on our toes. We haven't seen exact confirmations. And if you're looking at the SPY and going, hey, there's no 2-hour divergence here, that's perfectly fine. There is a slight like flatness here for the MACD. That's not necessarily the biggest reversal signal, but when you extend this into, say, the SPX 500 in a 4-hour, which is similar to the 2-hour, you have confirmed those signals, suggesting that the daily is going to confirm down, suggesting that you are going to see some kind of daily pullback or daily retracement. So is something bad going to happen today, or are we going to be able to solve it and squeeze even longer? And that's the game that it seems you are playing this week, but this is a topping signal. It looks like we have done the things that we need to do to create the topping signals, and those signals have confirmed. So we are pretty damn probable here to potentially have that top right now. Okay, and now we just pay attention to how we can be wrong. Rotation into industrial. So one thing about this is if you consider the other markets, they have 30-minute divergence, but they don't have 2-hour. So we can see an aggressive 2-hour pullback that is actually able to catch itself. Or you could see that extend for a long period of time where you almost kind of like flag out like this, and then you're able to curl up into positive territory later. DIA is not suggesting a big top here. It's mainly the SPY and the Qs. And even if you go and look over at IWM, it's not suggesting some big ass top here where you're going to go down to these type of levels. So these are ones you want to take with a grain of salt, IWM and DIA. Because this could just 2-hour pullback and 2-hour confirm up into positive territory. I mean, you have nothing here for that. All right, guys, I have to hop off, but I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you later tonight on YouTube to get you guys some daily expected moves and talk about some risk in the market and see how these things look at the end of the day. We are outside of a daily expected move, which means we can get some kind of bounce into the end of the day to close back above 622.21, and then we'll have updated levels for you tomorrow. But as of right now, as we head in the downward direction, I would heavily be paying attention to the 614.74 for this week. Thank you guys. I hope you have a great day today. And I got to hop off because we have to get prepped and ready for some family to come into town on my wife's side. We got through all of my family. Now her family's coming to visit, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of more fun with them because they all carve out limes and pour tequila. It's a good time. They are such fun people. They actually dance. Once you get married to a Spanish woman, you'll start to realize, like, they say things like gringo parties are kind of lame, and they're so much fun. So with them, so. Thank you guys. I hope you had a great weekend. I will be here all week long in the morning, but I do still have family in town. So we will try to do one private stream in the next 7 days, at least the prep video. But I really wanted to go and do a private stream where we can tackle some things, like really dig into questions that you guys may have. Have a great day. Shabby bang. Very a Greek woman, and you lose your ability here. Well, that's the hard part. My wife's half, she's Ecuadorian and Italian. So you don't make her mad. Let's put it that way. Hey, guys, all I can say is bless you. I hope you have a great day. All right. And I'll see you guys tonight on YouTube. Peace out, guys. Let's put you on volatility, though. This is really, really important. Okay. I just want to say that one more time. Watch volatility. All right. Have a good one, guys. Peace. Bye, YS. Bye, wise man.